All right, everybody, welcome to the One Up Yours podcast for Friday, May 2nd. This is Garnet Lee. Joining me on the show today, I've got Shane and Sean, regular guys, and then Nick Sutner here from the reviews section to anchor the show today.
Howdy.
Andrew's here working the machine. Got everything going? Of course, we're definitely going to be talking some Grand Theft Auto, but we're going to kind of hold that for the second segment, where we're going to not do, I mean, if you're watching the One Up show, you've seen that we already kind of did the big roundtable thing. We definitely, covered every element of the We Love Grand Theft thing. So we're going to do a little bit more in-depth examination of how the game fits into what the rest of the society thing, some of what the mainstream media is saying. Shane has a very interesting take because, believe it or not, this is his first Grand Theft Auto.
I'm not the only one. I've talked to a lot of people who this is their first Grand
That's
Theft
cool.
Auto.
Dude, I think it's cool. Anyway, so we've got that. And then a news segment, we have a little quick Grand Theft news set. We've got some Guitar Hero stuff. We've got a new Prince of Persia and Miyamoto in the Time Top 100. So let's hit the ground running. Who wants to, Shane, you said you had 3 games.
I actually have 4.
4 games.
The more I thought about it.
4 games.
Yeah. Well,
that aren't Grand Theft.
No. At Coachella, where I was over the weekend, I played both Little Big Planet and SingStar, but I don't really completely remember it exactly entirely, but Little Big Planet's still awesome.
Remember that thing about the Gaff poster on Ecstasy?
That wasn't me on Gaff, but...
Dude, Little Big Planet on Ecstasy would...
Little Big Planet just anytime
you make the most
is
useless
awesome.
shit.
But it was impressive because people were really into it. There were more people in that tent than in the SingStar tent.
Was it just an open tent for anyone to go play?
No.
Oh.
Press could go play it in a secret area, but not just anybody could
Just
go play
press
it.
that happened to be attending Coachella?
Well, Sony had brought some press there. That's when I ran into Sam. I was in line at Coachella. I was like, it looks like Sam. It is Sam Kennedy. Sony had brought him. But so Little Big Planet continues to be awesome. And one of the main guys was actually there, so I talked to him briefly, and he was having a great time.
Was there new stuff?
A few new things.
Right, so instead of talking about what was there and all that, what did you play or did you build? And if you played, what did you play? And if you built, what did you build?
I played, and there were some new objects I hadn't seen before, and it was still really fun. It just kind of actually pissed me off because I want it so badly, and we've played this all for a year now, and I really want that beta to happen soon. And
enemies?
There were no enemies in the part I played. As far as I know, they're promising enemies are going to be in the game.
That's what I'm most curious about. I want to see that element.
All right, so what was new? What did the backgrounds look like? Was it just left to right side scroll thing again?
Yeah, as I said, it's kind of a blur.
It's kind of a blur.
What does the play consist of?
Well,
what is it to play?
Have you never played it,
I've
Sean?
never played it, no.
It's a pretty simple left-to-right platformer, but it's all physics-based. So it's kind of what you do with it and what you make of it. You're just trying to get from point A to point B, but it's a little bit like a giant Rube Goldberg machine that you're playing through.
Well, if it's set up that way.
if you build it that way.
But you can get on you can make a vehicle out of pieces and the vehicle will roll over things.
And the only action you can do is grab. So if there's a thing whirling around, you can grab, pick up the momentum, and let go to fly across.
Right, but there's even little jetpacks and different. There's all these different ways to traverse across the environment.
So when you say you build, when you're playing the game, you're just this guy that can grab onto things, but then you can also build stuff.
Right,
so
you can
come
bring
to
up
a chasm and you can create.
Right, you can bring up menus at any point, grab the thing, choose the material that you make it out of, and that material reacts like it really is. If you put wood in water, it'll float. If you put iron there, it sinks. So and you can change the shape of everything, move everything around. The interface is really easy to use, and that's what really impresses me about this game is the building actually.
And the whole idea is building cooperatively too. You can go into just a blank area together and all sculpt the thing together and play it.
You and 3 friends go online, and from nothing you can make a whole level. And you're playing through it while you're making it, so it's kind of the journey is part of the fun. And if it's a really cool level, you can save it and trade it with your friends. And
like a 2D Gary's Mod, but with all about the stylized graphics. And
it actually, we're going to talk about Boom Blocks here in a second because Nick and I both been playing Boom Blocks, and there are a lot of parallels between Little Big Planet and Boom Blocks. And in the way that they both kind of feel like awesome playgrounds where you just let loose and you can do what you want and there's limitless amounts of fun.
And they have the you build it aspect.
Right. So SingStar, the other game that was there, they released the final U.S. songs list, and it's a lot of different things that weren't in the European one, and that's cool. They're actually localizing it for America.
Like She's My Cherry Pie.
Who doesn't want to sing?
Yeah, who doesn't want to sing Warrant?
Yeah,
Come on.
So yeah, that's all kind of a blur. The games I've been playing that I do remember more are Boom Blocks, which I know 2 weeks ago
I still love it. I mean, I don't have anything else to say about it because I kind of talked it out. But I really like it.
I still.
Where are you guys getting to play all this shit? Well, aside from Coachella.
Well, Boom Blocks, we're reviewing it. You should play Boom Blocks, Sean. I really think you
should be reviewing Bloom Block.
Bloom Box. That's something different.
It's called
Mayor Bloomberg. No. Yeah.
I don't. I'm out of touch with reviews.
I still prefer the multiplayer to the single player of Boom Blocks. Do you agree, Nick?
I mean, what's tough though, because there's very different types of games in both. I mean, multiplayer varies from taking turns, like trying to do the normal things and knock things over, or pull stuff out like Jenga style, or there's multiplayer where you each have a castle on either end of the world, and you're like throwing blocks to knock over the other person's castle.
I like all the multiplayer modes where I don't like all the single-player modes. I think some of the single-player modes are a little overly convoluted, and you really have to relearn it.
Really?
I felt that way.
I kind of prefer single-player just because it's more like I like sitting and thinking for a solution than being on my own time to like try different stuff, whereas multiplayer is kind of more like action intensive and more of like the shooting games, which I think is kind of the worst part of Boom Box.
Really?
I mean, as good as it is overall.
It's probably the difference. Like I know, Nick, you're really into Picross, and that fits the profile that you're sort of creating for yourself. And then when you get a game like Pokemon Puzzle League or something, there's someone who likes to do the challenges, and then most of us will be like, whatever. Let's just play one another.
I like the competitive. I like the competitive multiplayer aspect. I like what I love about Boombox is how well it uses the accelerometer and how you really feel like you're throwing a ball and you can control where it goes.
Which is the best part because it balances like action and puzzle solving. It does them both at least I think as like good as you can do them.
But I'm such a perfectionist that on the single player games I always want to do it perfectly, and it always tells you like you can do this in one throw. You can, and like I have to get that.
I had that problem too.
It ends up like driving me insane.
Yeah. You have to give it up eventually though.
It's hard. But I really can't say enough good things about Moonblocks. I didn't think I was going to like it this much. The only thing I don't like about it are the characters. I really don't like them. They're so kiddie. Like you could be stylized and like hip. Instead,
but again, if they didn't have them in the game, it would just be like bland, like nothingness.
They look stylized though. like a little urban vinyl toys or something. I mean, Kubricks they call them. And
I like Kubricks. This looks like Play School.
Wait.
But half of the stuff in Shane's office or in his cube is shit that you're not embarrassed for anyone to see.
Some of it I like it because it's so terrible, and that's different. Like I don't like if Boombox characters were like so awful, like. They offended me, but no, they're just kiddie. They look like something you would see in a 2-year-old crib.
You don't like fun, obviously.
I hate fun.
You hate fun.
I hate fun.
You hate fun. You hate cute.
All right. What else have I been playing? I got my hands on The World Ends With You, which I didn't review, and I've been really excited about playing it. And I'm really worried that no one's going to buy this game. It's barely getting pushed. There's no marketing. There's no commercial. If you like Kingdom Hearts, if you're someone who likes Kingdom Hearts, go buy this game.
Yeah. Well, no, wait a minute. Everybody I've seen that's like talking about it actually is really enjoying it. John Davison has been posting about how much he enjoyed it. Jeff Kanata from Totally Rad Show has been talking about how much he's really enjoying it. I mean, they're both saying, yeah, I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, but you should check this out. It's really good.
But Jeff Green did say he was, and back to the theme of embarrassment, said he would be embarrassed to be caught playing it.
Which game? The World Ends With You?
Yeah.
Well,
really?
It seems really emo anime, and it is kind of emo anime.
That's like the whole point of it, right?
It's like Weeaboo on a DS card.
I think
it's a Weeaboo RPG. Isn't that the thing? Isn't that the premise?
Well, you're this kid.
He's going to find a way. He's like thinking,
you're an emo kid in Shibuya, in Tokyo, and on a magical adventure. But ultimately,
on a magical adventure.
Ultimately, you learn that like the emo lifestyle is not the way to go. So it's kind of a condemnation of the emo lifestyle.
What is the way to go? Is that a spoiler?
That'd be a spoiler. But what's really great about it is actually the gameplay. It's crazy because it makes you use both the touchscreen and all the buttons at the same time. Your brain is like melting because you're controlling a character fighting on the top screen and a character fighting on the bottom screen simultaneously. It forces you to think in ways that DS games haven't made me think.
It forces you to use the mic. I saw in the instruction book.
It does force you to use the mic.
Oh, that's a bad thing.
You'll be on the bus like, Hew! Yeah.
Again. Don't get caught with boom. Don't get caught with that block game. That's what I'm going to call it from now on.
And also my DS,
So wait a minute, I got a question.
Well, okay.
Does it actually the main time that I've seen The World Ends With You is at TGS, and so it was always, on top of looking confusing, it was always in Japanese also. Right. So now that you've been playing it in English, can you actually get your head around, like, what are you doing on the top screen and what are you doing on the bottom screen, and how does that work?
Well, you can actually kind of turn the top screen on auto, and you probably should at the beginning, otherwise you'll be completely overwhelmed.
Okay.
But so it's kind of a rhythmic combo thing where your guy below will set up the thing for the person above, and like it's a timing thing.
So is it timed to like music? Are you listening to music, or is it on-screen images?
It's kind of on-screen indicators, and it's hard to explain actually. I mean,
okay.
You should try it, Garnet. I think because you like Kingdom Hearts, you like Final Fantasy.
D-pad or touchscreen?
Both.
Okay. So D-pad and touchscreen,
yes.
And crap come controlling on both screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sure. Why not?
It's asking a lot of you, but go for it.
All right.
Also on DS, Arkanoid DS, and I'm an old school Arkanoid fan. I remember loving Arkanoid in the arcade, but I wasn't completely enamored with this. because they aren't releasing the paddle controller here, which it came with in Japan, and it's
yeah, Jeremy has that. They're not releasing that here?
Nope, and it's a pretty awesome paddle controller, actually.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
But why would you even bother putting out the game without the controller to make it work right?
Touchscreen method, which is kind of works.
Kind of.
But the other problem was there's a big gap between the top and bottom screen, and it uses both screens as a vertical playfield. And as your ball will can hit the wall in that gap, and you won't even see where it
so does it take the gap into account?
The gap,
though?
the gap exists.
Oh, it does exist. I much prefer it exists. Whenever I play something where it doesn't it just jumps from one screen to another.
I think it would be even weirder.
That's how that Nervous Breakdown game is, and that's so disorienting when it just suddenly skips a half inch.
But ultimately, I'm not sure what it gains from having this doubly vertical playfield, because it just kind of makes it narrow, makes it a lot more bouncing, and makes it even harder to hit that last block up at the top of the screen to clear the level. So
that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I wasn't completely in love with Arkanoid, but I am completely in love with Space Invaders Extreme, which is on both DS and PSP. I think the PSP version is a little better because it has FMV backgrounds, but Space Invaders Extreme is phenomenal, actually. Phenomenal.
Come on.
Comparisons to both Pac-Man Championship Edition and New Super Mario Bros. Are completely valid. It's a recreation of what was so great about Space Invaders, but mixing it with a more modern twist, and it feels a lot like Galaga 88, which is one of my favorite games of all time.
So what's the twist?
The twist is there's 4 power-ups, and there's tons of different variations of the Invaders. There's weird AI behaviors you don't expect from the Invaders, like they'll reflect your shots, or they'll suddenly start dropping down really fast, or they'll move around, and there's bosses, and there's UFOs that fly by. If you hit them, you get to go to bonus levels. There's multiple pathways. Yeah, it just kind of keeps mixing it up and keeping you on your toes. You think, I know all the rules of Space Invaders, and it keeps breaking those rules. And the music was all remixed by these wild techno DJs, and I don't know, it's just really fun and addictive.
Do you play it book style, or do you play it side?
I play it landscape style.
So it's not turned.
You might be able to. I didn't even try.
Yeah, I would think it would work. I think it would work. I don't know. I would think it would work better vertical, right?
But and it's only $20. Both Arkanoid and Space Invaders are only $20. So
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
definitely good with that.
I remember last year TGS Space Invaders was the secret best game of TGS, and I didn't believe anybody, but I'm a believer now.
Did anyone pick up Echochrome?
It's out today. It's only it's a download.
Right, but you can get it on the PC and put it on the PC version of the store and put it on your PSP.
That
seems like
$10.
Perfect place for it, man. I don't know.
Echochrome, I think it's really cool, but it annoys me a little bit because it breaks its own rules.
That was kind of my problem. Things just don't always
consistent.
It tells you what the rules should be, but then it just doesn't follow with 2 things lining up. It looks like it should work, and you're like, the game told me that would work. Why doesn't this work? And that frustration makes things harder than it should be in an already completely
does it do
overwhelmingly difficult game.
Does it do that just for the sake of making the puzzles
more
convoluted?
It seems like it's just something that they, for whatever reason, just couldn't make work 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's a little buggy,
So it's just a glitch.
But it's a very stylish game.
Oh yeah, it looks cool.
Andrew
was playing.
I like the concept, but yeah, the execution a little flawed. Yeah.
All right.
That's me.
That's
I've also been playing GTA 4, but we'll get to that in a while.
That's a lot of non-GTA 4 stuff. I'm impressed. Sean, what have you been playing, man?
A lot. The ones I won't talk about that are embarrassing. My French coach, I've actually been playing that in Luxor for PSP.
I want to hear about that. Talk about it.
We'll go to that because right before we taped, I was in TF2. Of course, the content update came out with the map Gold Rush and the new achievements for the medic. The funny thing, as predicted, everyone is playing, and they're playing medic specifically to unlock to complete the achievements and then unlock the new weapons that you get from it. It's made for some bad matches because surplus of medics.
Everybody medicing.
But there's something. The interesting thing about it is to see what happens when you take achievement mentality and you transplant it to a PC environment, which is very different. And the first thing that people did was they made their own maps, and it's called Achievement Box. And it's basically a map where it's got a capture point that you can stand on and turn to meet the criteria for some of the, required to complete some of the achievements without winning or ending the game. Everyone spawns immediately within range of one another. So it's
that's cheating.
And they go in and they're very coordinated. It's they've worked out the math, they've got the list, and they go down it. They go next one up, and they'll say autoclave. Someone will tell them what to do, and everyone does it. The fun part for me, I went in there just to check it out. But then of course there's a healing box, where you heal yourself immediately standing in this vicinity, and you don't even have to reload your weapon. So I just went soldier, stood there, and I got 300 kills, consecutive kills, just blowing everyone up. And most of the servers are locked that are running the map because people can play by the rules. But I was in there and there was no admin, and they were just going crazy and screaming, and this isn't right. I just kept telling them, like, bow down to a soldier that's greater than you.
That's right. That's right. It's not right for you to go in and kill them while they're janking the game to, like, get their achievements for basically not doing anything.
So, like, the weapon
that's not right.
The weapon they eventually get, is it like a god weapon?
They get 3 weapons. One of them, we kind of went over this before, but the answer is no. None of them are god weapons. And eventually every class is going to have unlockable stuff. But it's kind of just like, I mean, the first thing people did is they figured out that you can go into the CFG file and unlock it all immediately. But Valve, they're so quick to respond that they've already patched it. Like, it happened in 10 minutes. It was like, boom, then the next thing the patch was up.
Cool.
In the time it took someone to aim me, dude, do this to your CFG file. He was like, oh, wait, never mind. They just patched it.
That's impressive.
It was pretty crazy. But that's just kind of weird to see that happening. And it defeats the whole purpose of it, right? I mean, when you make this whole mini game of how do we subvert the system and go do it.
How did they miss the map idea?
Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe they've got some reason. If that's what people want, if people really just want to do it, maybe that's fun. I don't know. Valve's always kind of like just encourage people to do what they want. And
I mean, at that point, it's like, why not?
The people that were in those servers seemed like they were legitimately into it, to the point that it drove them nuts when someone came in and wasn't really trying to do anything but blow them up.
Were you fucking with Ryan? I'm sure Ryan was in there.
He came in bragging to me. It's like I've always got these Ryan Scott stories. He came in bragging to me. He's like, I've already unlocked the Blutsaga and like all this other stuff. And I was like, cool. And then I saw a post on the Gaming Age forums. And it was like, yeah, we had a great session, a great achievement whoring session with Ryan last night. That guy, man.
Sad.
We need to have Ryan and Shu host like
cover blown
achievement whoring. Yeah.
Wow. And then what else? I played some Assassin's Creed PC. And I quit playing because I took a trip like right afterward, and that's when all these like random handheld games came up, and then GTA came out when I got back.
Right.
But the amount I played, it was kind of interesting. I mean, I wasn't really enjoying it, and what I heard was that it doesn't get to the point where you're either going to keep playing or you're going to think it's boring and repetitive. I didn't even get anywhere near there.
Did you play from the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, because just that whole setup, I think, and going into it, watching the intro cutscene and everything is much different than if you were to just hop into like.
Oh no, I played from the very beginning. I liked what they're doing, and I'm interested to see what they're doing with the Animus Chamber and all that. But the actual play, it seemed. I mean, it's this challenge every time you create an open world game where you try to give people things to do, but then you want some cohesion between them. And it just felt to me like, okay, we built these gorgeous environments, and we have to just find things for you to do in them to keep you playing and to justify the effort that the investment in creating this geometry. So it's like you have to climb everything that's high. You have to do this and something. It's kind of hard to describe. There's all these things that just kind of break it. You're running around and everyone's like, "Oh my God, that man's running! Why is he running?" And it's this disembodied voice. Who's saying that? And then you go up and I like assassinate someone. There's all these fools standing around and they don't even notice. And then I start running again and they want to fight me, or my horse gallops and they want to kill me. Like, what the fuck? That was kind of cheesy.
You obviously don't understand the way it's supposed to work, Sean. I mean, come on. You gallop with that horse, and people want to kill you.
I think that's all done to like keep the assassin theme going of like having. It's kind of like forced stealth. They had to do something, but I'm not convinced that was the best way to do it.
Dude, all of it's forced.
The idea that stealth, rather than just like invisibility, you do socially, permissible behavior. And that's the equivalent of stealth. That's a cool idea.
The idea is cool.
But again, it just is so weird. It's just so, I mean, and I don't want to rip on them for it because, God, that's a hard thing to sort through. How do you handle it? And then, one of their answers is that you pretend you're praying. And it's like, that's another reason it's just so kind of awkward. It's like, okay, here's the part where I pretend I pray. Here's the part where this like insane San Francisco bum won't leave me alone until I kill him because he won't stop asking you for a fucking coin.
Can I have some change?
Dude, those guys are like murderous, man.
Some change for a person, please.
Does it run really well on PC? Is it like the best looking?
It does run really well.
No, but it has really high specs, right? Weren't people bitching at how high the specs were on it? I thought that was I thought the big bitch was that you had to have a fairly high end machine to run it, and that the people were complaining that, hey, it's just a next gen port. Why does it require such high end hardware?
I assume as much. Right now, my rig at home is a great machine, so it's like I'd never tried it on.
You're like,
machine.
It works.
Yeah, I use the mouse and keyboard. I think it's fine. The other thing is the fighting. I don't know. And I'm assuming some of the people.
I played it.
I love the fighting. That was one of my favorite things. I never got sick of it. Just like
but why? It's like you sit there and you're watching a movie of people fighting, and now and then it's like Dragon Slayer.
As you get more moves. I mean, that is one thing. Definitely, like it gets to the point. It kind of like gets complete. So you have this like toolbox of moves to use, and it's really like rhythmic, I guess, was the main thing for me. And it just like I always like getting into fights with like especially large groups of guys just coming at me, and just you have to time it like right to like block their attacks and hit them back, and just even that small set of moves you end up with it was like always satisfying.
Because right now where I'm at, it's like you block or you attack.
Yeah,
so while there's timing, it's like
it's all simplistic, but there's several variations of those that like give you enough to do. Or for me at least, it always stayed interesting.
Mm-hmm. They've got that nice after you, sir mentality, you know.
Yeah, they just wait around you in a little group and take turns. But
I'm just not even going to wade back into slagging on Creed because it's too.
I don't like. I'm kind of slagging on, but at the same time, I was like, I want to know what's going on with the story. That's definitely intriguing. And the environment, it's
questionable taste confirmed.
It's great to see like Acre, Damascus, and Jerusalem as settings in the game. That was definitely. I'm definitely enjoying that.
So do you agree with the overall criticism, which was like it's a concept in search of a game? It's like they had a great idea.
Could be
too bad they didn't like finish the game.
That's probably. I think that's fairly fairly.
That's an excellent
accurate
description.
That's a lot of people say. It's like, oh, all the building blocks were there except for the actual like game design part, where like you do these things.
Well, right. I mean, because like at the end of the day, once you get those specific things that they came up with for you to do in the world, you do them over and over and over in over and over and over similar looking places. Like that's the part that broke it for me more than anything. And the combat is not that good, dude. It's boring. Anyway, let's not have this argument again. We totally did Assassin's Creed a year ago. Let's not go back to that.
Well, it's on PC. I'm glad it's there. And then it takes 10 years to quit your game, though. Is that the same on console?
No.
When you want to quit, you have to press a button, and it's like yes. And there's
and then you have to go out to this chamber.
Another menu, and it's like, are you really want to quit? And you do, and then it goes to yet another menu, and there's like 4 embedded.
There was that
nested dolls of menus to finally quit. I'm like, no.
At the end, you're like, maybe I don't want to quit.
I can hit control.
You have to get out, go back over to your bed, wash your face, get ready, get tucked in.
And I will talk about Luxor other than to say for PSP, it's an awesome game. I think that like
Luxor 2 or.
It's just straight up Luxor, and I never got into it at first because I was like, I really liked Zuma.
Right.
It's like it's just the same thing, but it's different because it controls where you move a slider, kind of like the spaceship in Space Invaders, left and right. But the big difference, aside from that, is that all the combos drop coins and power-ups, and then you, in the same way you catch them, like in the way you would again in Arkanoid, get the ball or something. And that alone is cool because you chain all these combos, and just those simple puzzle games like that where they constantly feel like they're rewarding you, and you're just getting these like superpowers and like tons of coins and catching the stuff as you're lining up shots. It's fun. That's all I'll say about it, but just check it out.
At least on the live arcade one, because I played that as well. Like I like Zuma, but Luxor just was kind of I felt like it was too easy. Like I just played for like an hour and a half without anything stopping me, and I was like, okay, I want some sort of...
That didn't bother me, though. Like, you get close enough where you're like, oh, man, this is going to be the time where I have to do this level again, and then you work your way out of it by, knocking and completing the colors and stuff.
That just reminded me, Space Invaders Extreme also has a really awesome 2-player mode that is full online play, both DS and PSP, like real online, and it's cool because it kind of adds a Tetris Attack kind of thing where if you hit a UFO, that sends like a bunch of invaders over to the other guy's side, and as you're playing, even if you're dying and continuing, it keeps getting harder and harder and harder. So if you and a friend keep playing, by like the 5th or 6th match, it's like super hard. And you're fighting really, really hard invaders, so it just keeps ramping up. It's cool.
That's cool. I like that. Good. That it? You good?
Yeah, I'm cool. GT coming up.
I don't have much else besides GTA. I mean, I'm playing Lost Cities on Live Arcade. It's another board game. You guys are all down on the board games.
I like board.
I know.
Hey,
yeah, you know.
I'm all about Illuminati.
Lost Cities. I don't know if you played Lost Cities, but it's
I probably have.
Super simplistic, just 2-player only card game.
Right up your alley.
Yes. I don't even. I mean, it's boring if I explain how it works.
How does it fall into the Cold Sept pantheon?
Well, nothing's as good as Cold Sept. So
that's all I need. That's all I need to know.
But
today on the Cold Sept podcast,
if you like Catan or Carcassonne or any of those that are on live, you'll totally dig this. Although I couldn't find anyone literally to play against online in player or ranked matches. I mean, yes, everyone else, my friends, was playing GTA, so that's a good indicator.
You may be the only person who bought this game.
Yeah, but actually, no, she was playing it last night too, but we never ended up in the game.
Dude, together, even the MGO beta sort of emptied a little bit out because Andrew was looking at it the day that GTA came out, and then like the day before it had 900 and something people on the server, and what was it? There was 220 when you were trying to find a game. I was like, wow, that's a
weird
huge
to think
drop.
that a live arcade game less than a week after release you literally can't find a match. There's no one else playing.
I wonder
that's
how many
a bad
people bought
time,
that.
though. I mean, if it went for
I know that's why there's not a
GTA's
game coming
release,
out this week.
And
but
it is a card game.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
There was one when I went on to first play GTA 4 online. There was one person of my friends that was playing Carcassonne, and I was like, I can respect that.
Well, see, everyone got Carcassonne free when Microsoft gave it out, so that's I think that got enough of a base of people.
If they cared enough to download it,
I'm sure Lost Cities will
he
be
should
free
have just
at some
kept
point.
sending invites to all of his friends that were playing GTA.
Did you not care enough? Was that a?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Was it a board game? I'm just trying to get you pissed, dude.
And
it's
what
easy
else?
target.
Yeah,
But of course I didn't download it.
Too. I already talked about Boom Blocks.
Boom Blocks.
It was
You
awesome.
love the penguins and teddy bears. You think they're very cute.
I do. They add a lot to the game.
See, how do I
And-
reconcile this? You have good taste when it comes to Boom Blocks, but then questionable taste when it comes to the fighting in Assassin's Creed, and,
Well,
and
let's
God
assume
only
you
knows
have bad taste in everything.
God only
and
knows
I'm
where the
clear.
hell you're going with this board game thing.
So, Guitar Hero 3 is the thing I've been playing recently, going back to which I still cannot beat the final boss battle on hard. I don't think I ever will. This is peaked at my Guitar Hero skill, and I can't do it. It's just so frustrating.
I was telling Aaron Grant, who's the rep for Activision on that game the other day, I was like, damn it, I'm so pissed because I was excited about Def Leppard being on there, and I can't even be bothered to go buy it because the fucking Photograph and Rock of Ages are damn live versions. Why do I want live versions?
That's
yeah,
weird.
I know. Did you know? You didn't know that, Andrew? It's they're live versions. It's
They might be better. Could have a crazy guitar solo in Photograph.
No, fail.
Oh.
Total fail.
I don't know,
Full of fail. I don't even have to hear them to know they're full of fail.
When it came out, everyone was talking about the boss battles and how they suck. And I actually liked the first couple because they weren't unplayably difficult. But the last one, playing Double Down to Georgia, is on hard at least, is just
I thought Slash was
stupid.
cool, even on hard. Morello's is weird. I mean, if you like Morello's style, I guess that's cool.
The worst part about this one is you the first minute and a half I can do every time, but the part that gets tough is a minute and a half in, and at that point, then it's totally random. It's if he gives me if he throws the lefty flip power up at me, it's fucked immediately. I can't deal with that.
That's like trying to learn Freebird. I mean, it was the same problem trying to learn Freebird because the first 4 or 5 minutes
But
of
at least
Freebird,
that's the
you're
same every time. That's the problem with this is it changes, so it's
Right.
a mixture of luck and impossible skill. I don't know.
or saving up your attacks. It's saving up your attacks, staying alive long enough to save up your attacks.
But you can't even get attacks. This is just dealing with everything throws at you.
I think it's time to give up.
Yeah.
White flag.
Yeah.
No, this was me giving it one last try, but
So did anyone else play MGO Beta at all?
I played a little bit.
Am I the only person?
I couldn't get on when I was first trying, and then I was out of town. But I do want to get on, but now there's GTA 4 in my life.
It's really weird, because I started playing it and I had this spike of oh, this is cool, and then it's slowly sort of ramped down since then. Oh, I'm not enjoying. No, you know what? I really don't like this as much as I thought I did.
I mean, I like it.
I'm not really sure why.
I like it, but there's not a lot of incentive because the stuff you get won't carry over, and this is a game where what you unlock and what you earn matters.
Yeah, but I mean, right now we're talking about a beta that you're just playing
think it's more
for fun
the Halo
to check
beta
out.
where it's people who are dying to play.
The game's almost here.
It is almost
The game's
here.
almost here.
It is almost here, and it's cool. I went and read the blog post. So I mean, obviously, I had missed one of the updates. It's totally included for free as part of Metal Gear Solid 4.
Starter pack.
Yeah. But who knows how much they're going to do as far as free content. It sounds like they're even planning to do some updates down the road that won't be microtransactions. So I think they came up with a much better model for how to bring that game around.
What did you like? You said you liked it right away. Why?
I liked it right away, I guess, because of I thought it was a cool. I liked the way the game looks. First of all, visually, it's very appealing visually. But then, once the characters start moving, the animations are a little, I don't know, the running animation.
Shitty, you can say it's
yeah, dude.
shitty.
Why does a dude run looking like he needs to take a crap? He's like, oh my god, I got a crap. I'm gonna run over here. Is that not what he looks like? Is that not what he looks like?
That's what he looks like.
For the same reason, though, that Nico Bellic runs like he's on skis and he's swallowing
right. I mean, I like
animation. What I'm telling you, that's not why. You like this game for some reason.
Yeah, you know what the initial appeal was? Actually, thinking about it, the initial appeal was that the pace of it is significantly different from other online shooters. So I had this optimistic outlook at first. That this is going to be the really cool, slow pace. This is going to break people of the I'm just going to run around and shoot people habit.
Definitely more strategic.
This is going to force people to play by taking cover and work together as a team and employ their weapons in the right way and actually have a much more tactical, thoughtful kind of approach to it. But hasn't seemed to hold that at all.
People don't play it right. I mean, like, you can do really cool things.
Right, I guess that's a big part of it.
You can grab somebody and hack into their Sons of the Patriot system and find out what the other team is doing.
If you have the right skill.
Right, if you have the right skill. It's very deep, and a lot of people aren't playing it right. But I think it's fun just to fuck around. Like, when I was playing it, I was like, okay, I'm just going to use a knife and girly magazines and have fun. And that's, like, I was killing a lot of people and having fun.
Dude, he's preaching to you now, is he not, Sean?
I'm skeptical that these guys know how to make a good online multiplayer.
I mean, this isn't the first time they've done it.
And when you say depth, I don't hear depth. I hear complexity. Sometimes needless complexity can be detrimental. Yeah. When you look at a game like, what was the very first multiplayer source mod that came out? It had the hacking element. Half of the game was played in cyberspace. Half of it's played in the real world. I forget the name of it. But it just didn't work out well. I mean, it's still around. A lot of people really love it and swear by it. But for me, it was like, it's the opposite of like Team Fortress 2, right? Where they say, let's go for simplicity and depth through. Uplink. No, Uplink. No, that's something different. That's a hacker game from Introversion.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, what about this, though? I did hear that you're right, that it's a perfect game for griefing, and that when you grab someone, they're pretty much at your mercy for as long as you want. And you could roll around on them and do all kinds of like man pretzel stuff.
You can. There's definitely some options to do some weird shit there.
What sounded good is someone compared it to SWAT 4 multiplayer, which we had a fantastic. I mean, when you're talking about the need for tactics and coordination and stuff, but at the same time, it was perfect for griefing because it had all these non-lethal weapons, pepper spray, beanbag shotguns, tasers and all this stuff, handcuffs, and you'd go on and you just take a teammate, and one of them would hobble him. You'd hit him in the knee with the beanbag shotgun, so he's limping around. Then the next of us would come up and spray the mace in his eye, and then he'd be blind, and then we'd shock him. And you just keep doing this forever and ever, and the guy's like begging.
Yeah.
And then when you hear the enemy coming, you all split and leave him there like jerking around with his eyes burning and stuff. And it sounds like that. You just grab someone and you take him to the corner and just wait.
And having seen all the weapons in MGS4, when all that stuff is in here, it's going to be.
So I definitely like the weapons. I definitely like the weapons.
Insane. And like I think the
level design is not very good right now. Well, it's
a lot of
iffy.
them are levels from MGS3, MGO. Like some of them are revamped versions of that, and
like there's a warehouse kind of level that's pretty decent. Has some good.
Like Groznygrad, is that right? Like that's from MGS3.
The city's good.
The one they added, the City Street one, is definitely the best level. But the one that's the like square level with the underground passage and the fort thing in the center that you like climb the catwalks to that is like my first level design.
Yeah, that level's not that great.
It's like my first level design.
But okay, did you play Neutralize the Snake? That mode is awesome. I really love that mode.
The second time I played it and understood what was going on, yes. So this is like a level where you have two teams,
right?
And they are in a competition
racing to see who can kill Snake.
That's right.
The most.
And another party's playing Snake.
And one person plays
gets
Snake.
to be Snake, and Snake has all of his abilities, so he's like super powerful, and it's really
including
fun.
Like the new camouflage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and he is Mark II. If you're Snake, it's a blast.
Yeah. Well, so it wasn't at first fun for me the first time because I didn't have any idea how to play Snake, so I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" But once I figured it out, this is really cool. It's like cool to like go up behind somebody, grab them, and hold them, and like you get their dog tag from them and score a point. I didn't see in the matches that I played. I never saw Snake win. Have you seen Snake win? Yeah. Andrew saw Snake win.
I've seen him win. I mean, you really have to know how to use him.
Yeah. Like, definitely would take skill.
The odds are way against him. It's him against, like, 8 other people or something.
So that's a level, that's a game type that, like, right now in the beta doesn't work that well because you haven't had a lot of experience playing Snake, but I could see where after playing the single-player game where you're accustomed to Snake's abilities and you know how to really play him, that you could be like, oh, fuck, this is fun. Yeah, this is really cool. And the competitive angle of the two teams vying against each other while also trying to get Snake, that's a cool dynamic. That's really cool.
Did either communicate? You really need to communicate.
Yeah, I know. I got a Bluetooth headset finally, so I need to get that synced up.
You should.
Same thing for like Burnout.
GTA. Well, you're playing GTA on 360, aren't you?
Yeah, but I do this that's a weird thing. But like, I don't know if that part will come up before again. I will probably buy GTA on PS3 also because I hate like having to choose. Like, if I want to play with Shane, I have to play it on my PS3.
But I told you, former podcast member Brian Intihar bought them both so he could play with everybody.
I'm going to do it. I mean, I don't see any way around it. I will probably play the single player part on the 360 in anticipation of the DLC
and achievements.
And you know what? I don't actually care about achievements that much anymore. I kind of realized, like, I think Shu was like a great object lesson for me because watching him like at night playing these fucking weird games, I'm like, dude, what the hell?
You're like, I don't want to.
He was pissed at me last night because like I got this achievement in Lost Cities on my second game that's really hard to get, and he was playing for like several hours trying to get it. And told me this morning he still hasn't got it.
It's like, what do I have? I have like maybe an hour to an hour and a half on a good night to play games. Why would I want to invest it in something just to be like getting achievements?
You take home Jumper, a lot of easy achievement points.
Oh, whatever. So what else I play? Over the weekend, I thought I pulled out. I wanted to try and finish Rainbow Six Vegas.
Two.
Yeah, Rainbow Six Vegas 2. I wanted to try and finish that before GTA came out because I like to finish games every so often, and fuck, that pissed me off so bad. I get by the time you get late in the game, it becomes this like move forward to die to find out where the enemies are going to spawn from so that you can shoot them the next time you come around the corner.
So you're memorizing the levels?
Yeah, it's just it becomes a total target range. It's so freaking irritating.
It's been that way a long time too.
I know.
It's always puzzled me why people like the
Maybe like the ballistics modeling of the guns and like the tension of it, but god damn it if it doesn't. I just finished you go outside Vegas, you're like at this airport level, and it is absolutely every one of them has the drop on you. Everybody gets to kill you first, and it's just a matter of slowly advancing forward. Like, oh, I know there's a guy behind this pillar next time, I will shoot him first.
Are you playing at a hard difficulty level?
No, I might have turned it up 1 or something, but I mean, no, I'm not playing on the hardest level by any stretch. No,
that's Mad Dog McCree. They all those games owe it to old Mad Dog.
Yep,
it's busted. It is so busted.
We played that on Broken Pixels, dude. It's
all where that guy's
space
jump
pirates
off the balcony and into the horse trough.
That part's so busted.
You'll be damned if you don't see him shoot you one time before you get him in the trough.
Damn, we played a lot of stuff that wasn't Grand Theft.
I know.
That's freaking impressive. All right, if you stick around in a minute when we come back, we'll dig into the Grand Theft, and we have plenty to talk about. It's Shane's first experience in the world.
My first GTA.
My first GTA. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we haven't had a lot of time to start playing it, but Grand Theft Auto 4... All right, Shane, let's just get you. I want to hear your first impressions because we've been hyping up that it was your first time to play it. I mean, so what's the biggest surprise about Grand Theft to you?
First, I mean, I have played previous GTAs, but never for more than like half an hour.
You never got sucked into it.
Yeah, and I never played one from the outset. I would just like pick it up and mess around a little bit and had some fun. But in the previous games, the graphics and the gameplay were not to my liking, and I did not want to play them. But this one, after I saw the first demo, I was like, okay, this actually looks pretty good. They're fixing the aiming, they're fixing the controls. I'm going to give it a shot. So I put it in, and initially, I'm just pretty blown away by the game. I really am. Like the graphics, although the frame rate not perfect, especially when you're like driving around corners with lots of stuff, it drops. But in general, like the lighting is amazing, the polygon work is great. But it's the storytelling, it's the visual storytelling, and how the game tells its story through the characters while you're on the missions, people talking to you, and just the sense of really being in a living, breathing city where you can go anywhere and do anything, and the emerging gameplay. I mean, all the things you've heard all these years that are great about it. It's all true. But the thing I didn't believe, and even like really trusted friends told me, like the writing is good. It's a really smart parody of pop culture. Like, I didn't believe that GTA could be smart or funny, and it is both. Like, I find myself laughing out loud at the radio stations, at the TV, at things people say.
You should definitely go back and play San Andreas.
Yeah, I probably should.
You should definitely go back and play San Andreas. Because that part is not new to the series. It's just continued refinement.
But what's weird is, so someone like me who isn't mired in like the GTA morality and the rules of the world, I find it weird when I'm playing the game. And if you're just a regular person who's playing this game, the early missions, like, okay, drive your girlfriend home. And, like, you run over an old lady and no one notices and no one cares and no one says anything. I find that very strange. And it's just kind of like, okay, the rules of this world aren't the rules of our world.
That's the problem with, I mean, that's why I kind of cringe when you said living, breathing world, because I think when people repeat certain things about games long enough, they just kind of, like, make
start to
them
believe
true,
it.
You know?
Right.
But, yeah, it's like... I came into the game and I've read all these anecdotes, my GTA stories about how this incredible thing happened and this or that, and they definitely can. But then when I've been prepared to go into the game and look for them, instead what happens is, yes, I'm on a date, and I start a fist fight with someone in the Cluck and Chicken, and the date doesn't seem to notice, and we walk out in the car, she's just chill, she's asking me about myself, and we're running over people, and she's just chilling. Well, and then I park my car, and there's like 15 cars behind me, and they're all just sitting there. Like, there's a motorcyclist like smashed between my back bumper and the guy behind me. He's just like chilling.
And you're taken out of it somewhat, right? Like, I was on a date and she followed me through like a river. She's like really? And then at the end of the date, I take her home and there's like a giant blood splatter on the front of her car, and no one's talking about it. like, all right, that's cool. But no, everything, it's easy to find.
You notice those because
you do.
It does. That's the problem that you have when you aside from people like raising our expectations with what they tell us, but the better they simulate the world, the more it's going to like underscore the fact that not everything is working, and that's inevitable. There's nothing to knock about that, but it just happens. It's a natural byproduct of them getting all the other things right.
Exactly, and you feel like you're pulled from two directions. Like in one way, I want this to be life, the game, the simulation, where it's like a real world where you're walking around, you can do anything, go in any building, talk to all these people. But at the same time, the main reason people play this is because it lets you do all the things you can't do in real life. Like in real New York City, you can't just go killing everybody and drive through windows.
And it wouldn't really be fun if people were constantly reacting negatively to everything. Because a lot of times it's hard to avoid running people, or like at least bumping them over.
Hard.
Or like if you try to obey traffic laws, like you were saying on the GTA San Andreas PC Online hack thing, people were obeying. People are obeying traffic laws.
They won't pull you over in the game single player for doing it, but the cops in the
And I was thinking, if someone was actually trying to obey traffic laws in GTA 4, like it's almost impossible.
And then to not take out street lamps and mailboxes
But that is something I found myself now. I mean, maybe just because it's like there's more of a police presence or something, but it's like I've been obeying that a lot more. Like I've paid the toll every single time that I've been through it, and that's just because I don't want to deal with the police. I want to continue on my.
Dude, it's easy to dump 1 star, but you get up to about 3 stars now, and it's freaking hard. Yeah. It's hard to dump 3 stars. I found it hard to dump 3 stars. I don't know. Have you gotten to 3 stars?
No, I try to stay by the rules, or I go so far that they actually arrest me and kill me.
So I think a lot of it has to do with like how you play the game, because it's much like the online thing that Sean was talking about. Where guys were playing according to this, the rules, the road, and all that kind of thing. If you play this game as if adhering to like the social laws and like doing all those sorts of things, then you'll have one sort of experience. Like you'll take Michelle to her date and you'll bring her back, and it'll all sort of follow like a normal, believable thing. But if you decide to go nuts and like swim through the river and run people down, then all of a sudden it does start to unravel really quickly.
It does.
There's also like in the dating thing, there's I got to the point where it's like every time you drop her off, it's like you want to try your luck or say goodbye, and there's not really, at least that I've seen, like. I mean, eventually I was like, okay, I might as well try my luck at this point. I'm taking her a bunch of dates. And there's not really any in between. It's like if I don't make that step, it's like, I mean, this sounds silly, but like our relationship isn't going to evolve. It's kind of...
So you want that point where you go in and then fall asleep on her couch and don't get any?
But
I don't know. I just wanted to go somewhere without me, like...
Well, but doesn't everyone wish they had more say as to what Nico does and says? Like, I wish I had more input into him.
Well, even if there's... You're from a design point of view... You're just opening up Pandora's box there. There's only so few things you could do. What you could do, however, and something I tried, it doesn't work, is you might be on a date. You could still open your cell phone. That interface is already there. They don't have to work out some dialogue tree or something. And then you can call someone and say, hey, let's try to accept a criminal mission right when this chick asks me what I'm about. But that doesn't work, So that would be something that you could. And like, hey, get in the back seat. We're going to have a date, and we're going to go and kill some fucker.
Here's a funny question. So the first date in the game, the first date comes at the same time when you have the choice of going on the date or going and saving your cousin. Did anybody go and save their cousin, or did everybody go on the date? Everyone I've talked to went on the date. All of them.
But then the next time, why?
You get to go save him again.
Well, I
can you even go save him?
Yeah.
At that point?
Yeah.
Really?
I worked out both. I did the date. I speed dated.
Really?
Yeah, like I didn't have to finish the game of bowling.
Well, I already mentioned this in the one-up chat, so I'll keep it brief. But what I did there is I called, once I heard, the next time he called when I was on the way to a date, I was like, okay, I better help him this time. And I called her, and when Nico called her, he was like, hey, I'm sorry, this sucks, but I got to cancel. Like, it was cool because he told her what I was calling to tell her and hoping
That's
he
cool.
would.
I wish we'd do that more.
And that is better to do than just, outright missing the date.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, screw your cousin. It's all about getting the girls and getting laid. That's what the popular media says about Grand Theft Auto, right?
What was funny last night is that was Little Jacob, like the illegible Rasta guy. Yeah. I was driving on a bike last night. We just went to the strip club and then came back. And on the way back, I hit a car. And he flew off, and it said like Little Jacob, or it says your friend has been injured, not killed but injured, and he was just lying there. And I was like, okay, now what the fuck do I do?
Just leave him.
So I drove like 6 blocks away, and then like a minute later I got a call, and he's like, hey, can you come pick me up? And I go and pick him up, and it's at the hospital, and I'm picking him up. But he's thankful that I'm picking him up. He didn't even acknowledge that.
It was nice of you to pick him up at the hospital.
Yeah.
Said fuck him earlier, but I'll pick you up at the hospital. So I don't know about you guys. I did a couple of interviews because, of course, mainstream media is suddenly interested in games again. Shane, you like?
Well, the big thing for me was on the 29th. I get a call from my mom. My mom doesn't know anything about games. The last time she mentioned games was like the day that PS3 came out. She heard, oh, there's a new game out. But she was like, there's this new game. I saw it on the Today Show and Good Morning America, and it's teaching kids to like kill hookers. She's like, what's up with this game? I'm like, oh yeah, it's Grand Theft Auto. It's really good. I was like, don't believe everything you see on TV, Mom.
That's kind of that's something I've had to overcome. Like, there's so much hype's been manufactured for the game. When I play it, I've got to get over that because I just feel dirty about it in some ways. I mean, the way that the whole, not just our industry, enthusiast press, but media coverage at large, it reminds me a lot of when someone in high school maybe won the lottery, and then all of a sudden he gets all those calls, and everyone wanted to remind him how much they were his best friend,
right.
And everyone wants to do something to be part of his orbit, so that when he goes to Sizzler for dinner on Friday night, they get to go and get the shrimp and the steak with them. I don't know.
Well, and the fact that the Hollywood...
I don't know. When there's too much, when every analyst has got to say, oh, you think it's going to sell 4 million in the first month? I think it's going to sell 6. And then two minutes later, someone else posts, I think it's going to sell 8 million in that month.
Now that it's the highest reviewed game of all time, all the analysts are upping their sales projections and
they've been over and
over
again, yeah.
And, it's getting crazy huge. It's just,
reviews, intros for the reviews I've seen, it's almost as if they've been engaged in some similar one-upsmanship where it's like, hey, this guy said this was a great game. The next guy's got to prove that it is
this game reinvents narrative.
The pyramid at Giza of gaming.
This game,
they just do it over and over.
This game readjusted my view of reality. No, and the crazy thing is Iron Man. The people in Hollywood are already blaming GTA for. They're like, well, Iron Man probably won't make the 70 million we projected because of Grand Theft Auto. All those kids are too busy playing their game to go watch our movie. They've already said that.
It's really
go to
weird.
Pirate Bay and they're downloading it and watching it on their UMDs.
There was nothing stopping them from delaying the movie release 2 weeks. I mean, I know they set away in advance, but they can push it back. What the fuck? That's their own fault.
But I think it is a cultural touchdown. It was the first.
Absolutely.
It was the first thing on Daily Show. It was first thing on Jimmy Kimmel. It was the first thing on most of the late night shows, and every morning show had it. A sensational thing. Every local news. Sam Kennedy was on the local news here talking about it. It is the biggest gaming event.
Both ways too. All the news sites and stuff. They're like, we just got to press. Release or something, since we got to cover this. Everyone's covering it. We got to do our segment. And then sites like us and everyone, IGN and GameSpot, their PR people are sending out stuff like, in this wonderful time of GTA 4, it helps to have the experts talk on your shows and stuff,
right.
And they're reminding them, and everyone is all part of this whole thing to get.
But it's pretty incestuous.
But I guess because I'm playing it and a part of it, I did get a little caught up in how exciting it is, and it's better than I thought it was going to be. I want to keep playing it. I think it is a really big deal.
So before we jump away from the media thing real quick, how do you feel that this time around the media has been – what sort of tone are you getting from the way they're approaching it compared to, say, San Andreas or Vice City before that?
They know it's a big deal. They know it's just a really big deal in general, as opposed to going straight for, the controversy of it. They know this is a huge thing for not – it's like – outside of all right, not just gamers care about this, average people interested in games care about this, and it's Grand Theft Auto is on the cover of the newspaper.
It's more like
and
a Harry Potter
release. The story is about the release, not about new game out that killed,
And some of the media pieces I've seen have been pretty, even-sided. They'll cover, Jack Thompson says this, but, Sam Kennedy says this, They'll try to cover both sides.
So it's interesting because I can relate, on the morning news, the local morning news on Cron 4 or whatever, the news lady's like, well, that new Grand Auto Theft game thing came out, and I'm like, wow, this is really bizarre. But then I went on Fox Business News, and the woman who was interviewing me was actually on the air. It was like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to go home and play my copy I got today.
She's like, I'm going to beat some hookers.
Yeah, she was really into it, and she never at once in any way even gave any indication of looking down her nose about it being a video game or anything like this. And this is not even in a human interest story. This is on a business channel where this woman is doing stock analysis and all that kind of stuff, and she's obviously copping to, hey, I like video games. It's a cool game. You should be interested in this.
It's just interesting that I wonder what those people's expectation is, because fundamentally this isn't a completely different game than San Andreas.
Not at all.
People probably would have looked down their nose at San Andreas and picked it up and be like, what the hell is this? I don't know when she, if she's not really a gamer, goes home and pops it in, that it's going to resonate whatsoever. It's probably just going to be still overly complicated and violent. But
I don't know. It might resonate because I think that there's a sense of actually giving it a chance versus just going in with this preconceived notion of, oh, this is just a stupid violent murder simulator.
Well, and I've seen a lot of parallels in the way the media is covering this and the way they covered Halo 3, and I think that on a very broad sense, this game is more approachable than Halo 3. It's not a space dude shooting aliens. Right. It's a guy in New York City. you're walking around. Like people can relate to this game just on face value.
Well, and then the bigger picture is that it does actually have some very real themes and characters to it.
Well, that's what's been surprising me. Like the first 2 hours in the game, I'm like, well, I kind of like Nico, and I like the themes that this game is playing with. But will average GTA fans like this character?
They certainly will. Average GTA fans. I mean, he's very much part of the type that they've been working with since.
No, but he doesn't seem like Tommy. He doesn't seem like Tommy Vercetti, and he doesn't seem like CJ to me. From what I know of those characters,
like beyond that, in the strong, not specifics, not like, well, this guy's black, this guy's Serbian or whatever. Right. I mean, like just the positions that they occupy, the roles they're. But like CJ and him, they're both on the margins of society. They're both different in some other way. They're both looking. Both games are concerned with, notions of the American dream, and then the alternative routes to fulfilling it.
But like,
I mean, they're very similar.
But this game at the very beginning, when Nico comes there and sees what his cousin's been lying, like it's about like the malfunction of the American dream.
And it is as much for CJ when he watches TV and he sees what America's supposed to be like. And it's always been about the difference between the way that the society is presented and the way that certain members of that society perceive it. And these guys are on the margins. Even Vercetti and stuff, those guys are on the margins as well. They've just taken it and emphasized that with the ethnic and
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a very universal theme that I think a lot of gamers get behind and we can relate to.
Yeah, it's totally.
I think it's still interesting just that we're playing as like in an open world environment where you can kind of do what you want to be, and as a result be who you want to be, that you are still playing as a character. Like I was saying earlier, you can go on a date and like treat it like you kind of would a date in real life, but I'm nothing like Nico.
Right.
Like I still have that. I still live with my cousin or whatever. It's like, it's interesting that we haven't seen a setting where it's like I am just an average person who lives in an apartment by themselves and works a retail job, and then goes from there into somehow gets caught up in crime or something. It's still a very set story in a very open-ended world.
You liked Crackdown a lot, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember because we played Crackdown and you were really into it. So the two totally different approaches to handling the open world gameplay. Crackdown, no one got into the story of that.
Crackdown has nothing to tie it together.
Right. And now GTA, and let's talk for a second about like the way GTA has evolved from Grand Theft Auto 3 through Vice City and San Andreas and now onto this game. It's really emphasized more and more and more the structure of the story, building the characters, being an interactive cinematic experience sort of thing. And do you want that out of your open-ended game? I mean, you said, Shane, most people don't even play that way.
I'm surprised by the number of cutscenes like in this game. I wasn't sure how many there would be, and playing through it, I'm like, okay, maybe MGS4 isn't that cutscene heavy for these people. There's a lot of cutscenes.
When you begin the game, the first 3 hours are a combination of like, it's like a chauffeur simulator, but I also look at it as like a radio play that's bookended by cutscenes. And a radio play, of course, is just drama, but all you hear is the voice. So this is when people are in your car with you, talking to you from the passenger seat or through your phone, and then you get to the next cutscene. And that part, it was extremely boring for me the first hours. As much as fantastic as the acting is, the performances are incredible. Both, the real world people doing it and the animation. The scenario construction's fantastic, but I'm like, I just want to play some. And then when you look at what you're actually playing, it's kind of like you go back and forth.
Well, and then,
so you can watch the movies.
And then I got to say, when I got to the first mission where you're like doing fisticuffs, I wasn't enamored with this game's...
Enamored with fisticuffs.
I wasn't enamored with GTA 4's fisticuffs. I would much rather, actually, it have like Yakuza or Shenmue's brawler gameplay. I mean, I know brawling is not the main focus of this game,
which is interesting,
by far.
Because a lot of people have said that the fighting, the hand-to-hand fighting system in this is way better than it used to be. It has blocking.
I don't know what it used to be.
It was horrible.
It does have blocking.
It was.
It has, you can target people and there's two different punches and a kick, but why not put a full complex like Yakuza-style fighting system in this?
I think back to part of your question about how the series has changed. I think Rockstar has been kind of like their possible moves have been limited by the fact that they have so many imitators out there and that are beating them to it. So when you look at it, you're like, okay, now that they've got the equivalent of Vegas and L.A. and San Francisco and New York, and Miami, like what's left? And you're like, well, people have already done London.
Yeah.
I think they've maybe done Paris or something. If not, someone's doing it. They've done let's do a military take on it.
Mercenaries.
So now, yeah, you've got all these other things on. So when you look at it, you're like, well, what else are they going to do? Like, could we do Chicago? Is that different?
Well,
of course, let's do this.
You got different time periods. I mean, that's
Driver's done that.
That's true.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten a great like Old West. world thing.
And on the gameplay point of view, like I just think similar. Like if you got like games like Crackdown and Mercenaries are saying, let's make this just like super heroic in Crackdown's case, or just blur the lines between just urban conflict and all-out war, and then they're doing that. It's kind of like, I don't know. It just seems to me like natural that they ended up where they're at.
They just chose to refine, and what seems like they added to me was you actually care about the characters, you care about your relationships with these multiple characters in the city, and that is very interesting to me. The fact that like I care what people think about me in the game, and if I miss my dates, if they're if I let my friend die, that kind of shit, like that's next level shit to me.
Yeah, I think that like part of like why the storytelling part is actually important to the open-ended game is that no matter how much of it you play, if you play you play probably as far into the game as you need to build that bond with Nico, to start feeling really personally attached to the game. And then when you go and start fucking around, you have a much stronger rooting into the world. You're much more involved in what's going on there, because you do kind of think, oh, well, this is the same place I've been out with Michelle, or...
Yeah, but that's kind of a double-edged sword, because then it's like, I'm gonna feel bad for New then. It's like, oh, well, Nico wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Why would I be doing this and like causing random chaos? I've really felt like more of a separation now than ever, I think, between the it's not necessarily bad, but between like the narrative and that random sandboxy chaos.
I agree. Like, simply fucking around in the game is less appealing to me than ever.
Yep.
And that's part of the reason. Like, if you're going to go and do that, it's suddenly inconsistent with the attachment to the character and the expectations about, the relationships that you're talking about, Garnet. And then again, in the context of something like Crackdown, where Crackdown took the idea that all those people, when GTA 3 first came out, said, oh, I just love to run around and run people over and stuff. And they told all that story. They said, well, let's make a game for them where instead of just running around and running people over, you can hit them with like 6 rockets and juggle them for 15 minutes, and let's make it so you can jump on over all the buildings and stuff. And now that I've had that, simply like let's be bad in GTA 4. It's like, okay, I run someone over and then I run from a cop, and like, so what? It's like that part's boring to me now compared to Mercenaries and
so is this good? Is it bad, or is it just different?
I think it's fine.
I think it's bad for the open-ended nature in a way, because like, and it does seem a little less dynamic too. Like last night there was one where I had to chase a guy on a bike, and beforehand I tried to like line up cars in the street to block him, but again, like, they disappeared, and
you're just all about that. Like that's your acid test for anything.
Well, no, I want to be able to like play those missions how I want to play them, and those missions seem like less dynamic than.
Can't we do that online though? Can't we get that same sort of experience in online?
Yeah, but that's a different thing. I mean, I want to be able to play these single-player missions how I want to play them, and kill someone how I want to kill them, and not just follow what I'm supposed to do.
So you're saying that now
to
they've actually like reduced your possible. I mean, they're actively going and forcing you to complete missions just as they anticipate.
I think it's just that they have, not that they've reduced it, they just haven't made it better, and they've made a lot of other things better, and it's more noticeable now after playing things like Crackdown, where it is a little more flexible. I think that it's a little disappointing to have to replay missions how they want you to play them to succeed.
It's interesting that we all kind of agree that because it's more story-based, because we all care about the character, then we find the fucking around to be incongruous and like weird.
It's a mismatch with it, totally.
And when I like do that, it's almost like, all right, after I'm done fucking around, like I do that right before I turn the game off. I'm like, all right, let's run down a bunch of people and shoot a bunch of things, get a bunch of cops, and then shut it off. Like, I don't want my game saved after that.
Although, if you think about it, multiplayer could replace the fuckery, because you just go online with your friends and you're fucking around.
Yeah, and you're not Nico.
And you're not
someone
Nico.
Else. So.
Yeah. But I've been avoiding all my friends. Like the first day, I'm getting multiplayer requests. I'm like, no, I don't even know how to play this game yet. Don't worry, I don't play multiplayer.
Yeah, no, me too.
Before we go into
same
multiplayer, I figure we're gonna.
I haven't really played it.
I haven't played it.
But I did want to make the comment. I kind of told you a little bit earlier, but just that I see when I'm doing the girlfriend stuff, it's not fun to me. And at first, I was like watching like a cabaret show, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And I bet I know the motion capture studio, and they did a lot of work, and they paid the voice actors and stuff. I'm like, but I'm going to skip it. And then when I skipped it, of course, is that the game senses that it counts that you have skipped. It's like you walked out of the show early and then your date's pissed off. Same thing with bowling. I'm like, am I supposed to sit here and play 10 frames of this bullshit? I'm playing GTA, not some fucking shitty bowling game. I want to play Wii Bowling.
I let her win.
But she's like, so she got pissed off.
I.e. Shane lost.
And then there are all these things. There's these comedy acts, and there's all these things that they've put so much time into these in the case of the mini games, it is kind of interactive, but they've spent all this time in it. And I started seeing the girlfriend as like a stand-in for the actual developer's voice, where they're giving me a guilt trip.
It's like the nun with the ruler.
Yeah, like I spent all this time making that. Why don't you at least have the decency to watch it?
Right.
Like, fuck your comedy show, man. I guess I won't get pussy tonight, but I ain't gonna watch your fucking comedy show.
Nice.
So I take her home.
So everybody's still like Nick said it and Shane said it. Everyone still does like take a break at the end of the game though, and still go out and fuck around. What's it like especially if you have more of a connection to the character? What are you thinking when you're running grandma down or carjacking some dude or?
You ever have a guy chase you in your apartment? I did like last night before I went to save it before I went to bed, and I was like, it's like, yeah, I punch this dude in the face. I'm getting ready to run into my house. I could do a bitch maneuver on him. And he chased me in my house, and I was like, I'm not going to fist fight you. I'm trying to save. So I shot him. Like, this dude's just dead in my like I'm going to bed. I mean, you guys just laid there.
I'm surprised and amused by the reactions of the people around me. And like I said, like, I stole someone's car, and then they came and stole it back, and then someone saw that and like ran over. And yeah, just like that shit is fun, and it doesn't have anything to do with the story.
But does it actually get to you? Do you actually think about any of it?
I don't, because I don't think about like Nico really doing these things.
The very first time I killed someone, an innocent person, this is when I was playing it for a preview a few months ago. That was like a really, because I just followed a mission where you have to like chase a guy and then fight him, and it's the first guy who has the knife and you have to disarm and kill him. I killed him, but he was trying to kill me. Then I was just wandering around the thing, and I had to do it. I felt like I have to try this and kill a random person, and that was like much more like impactful than I thought it would be. I was like instantly felt regret, and like he's like hobbling, and then I got to finish him off, and I was like, and like that's something I haven't felt in
have you
GTA
seen
games before, and I feel like I've seen someone on fire. If that's
oh my god, dude, it's fucking awesome.
Coming out of a car on fire, and like so that stuff. I think it's just a mixture of the animation and there's a lot of visual stuff, but
it draws you in more. It draws you in more, and it actually makes you think more about it. It's interesting because that has always been the media's complaint is that it desensitizes you, and what we're saying is actually, and what I was getting at is I think it actually makes you more sensitive to it and more understanding of it, which just makes it.
Here's something interesting for me. Like when those moments happen where you accidentally kill someone or you just do something, then it makes you realize, because suddenly then I'm pulled out of it, and it's kind of like what I call this moral failsafe, where it's like I just don't identify. It's like I really want to role play some dude that runs people over on the street and laughs about it. It's like that's stupid, and it pulls me out. But then it makes me realize that until I did that, I was actually pretty immersed in this role. So everything else I was doing was like, do I really want to admit that? I was kind of like wanting to see if this chick was having fun until
I was just thinking,
until then I just pulled myself out of it by saying I don't want to watch this stupid cutscene.
If your idea of fun is the same as hers, running someone over.
Much like you, Nick, I did decide, okay, I want to kill an innocent person. So I wanted to find someone who was like not around anyone else. So I went to a park and I waited till like no one else was around, and I went up and killed them. And
this is creepy.
Yeah, and I felt kind of bad.
Yeah, this is creepy. It reminds me of the
it wasn't
scene
Golden
in
Gate Park, was it?
Review.
No.
Yeah, there's this moment in the game. I guess it's, I don't know, kind of a spoiler. That was one of the things that interested me in it. Andrew was talking about in his EGM review, this serial killer thing in the game and how it's integrated with the internet and all these other things that are happening in there. But yeah, you're kind of reminding me of what I read about in that review.
Yeah,
that's crazy. All right, well, I'm sure there's gonna be lots more for us to get to. Like, we didn't even touch on multiplayer, but since we haven't played it a lot yet, I don't think that's fair to get into. And I'm pretty sure that as we get further into the game, we'll have a lot more to talk about with the way the
maybe we can have the boards ask us what we want. Ask us questions about GTA 4.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good spot. I think we might leave it be for maybe a week or so we can really get far into it.
But in a couple of weeks,
it's not going anywhere.
Have any of us actually finished? Have you?
Finished the game?
Yeah.
No.
Gotten really
Andrew,
far.
I think Andrew Crispin and G Ford are the only guys.
Andrew can at least answer. I want to see like just big mob scenes. I mean, are there any like protests or anything where you're going in and part of your mission is to go through like the equivalent of like any weekend here in San Francisco?
Right. Civilians?
Yeah, like drawing from like the state of emergency type stuff like that. Even though that was a shitty game, but the idea of big groups of people and be inciting people to do things.
Sean, I know what I want in GTA 5. Every few months when the bicyclists take over San Francisco and like
critical mass.
Yeah.
Friday every month.
Yeah, thousands of bicyclists take over our streets. Mm-hmm. That's what I want in GTA
or like
5.
The riot. Yeah, like
so you don't run them all over.
Like I want to. People talk about the interesting things they see the pedestrians doing.
He wants them in there so he can run them down.
Yes.
Skip agrees. People talk about the interesting things they see the pedestrians doing, and it might be something like really tame, like they started punching each other or something.
Yeah.
But like, what happens if you go through a shitty part of town and there's a blackout, and all of a sudden there's like people throwing bricks through windows and stuff? I mean, that kind of stuff would be like for the next one. But I was hoping that Skip could tell me that was going to come.
Sorry.
Or a parade. That'd be fun to run over a parade too.
Yeah, parades and stuff.
All right, we got plenty more to talk
Burning
about.
Houses,
many coming weeks of Grand Theft Auto 4, but right now we're going to take a little quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get to the news. All right, you know with news we have to do like a quick update because there's already tons of news information swirling around Grand Theft Auto 4. The first one I'm going to kick off with here is the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers organization demanding an adults-only rating. The story comes from Kotaku, who had a little press briefing from them, I guess, and it says that they're demanding an adults-only rating because the game includes a mission in which players have to drive drunk. Of course, the statement goes on to talk about how serious drunk driving is, which I absolutely agree with. I think everybody agrees with it. Interestingly enough, as the Kotaku author pointed out, which I didn't have, who wrote this?
They're worried about you being drunk and maybe accidentally killing someone in a game that you can pull out a minigun and fucking kill like 10 people in half of a second.
Well, they're also worried about it being glorification of driving while drunk. Interestingly enough, as the person at who wrote this at Kotaku noted, if you drive while drunk, it makes it almost impossible to play the mission, and the entire point of the mission is you should probably go take a cab and go home.
But that doesn't even matter. It's like,
isn't that a good
is it
message?
A glorification of having sex with prostitutes, of everything that you could possibly do in there? It's just like you don't even have to go that far. Like, well, no, we have a strong message where even though we encourage you through missions to kill, 10, 15 people at a time, we say very flat out that you can't drive when you're drunk.
Well, wasn't there some prostitute alliance that got pissed during San Andreas' release? I'm serious about this.
Really?
Like, there was some sort of group, the hooker union.
They're organized.
I just refrained from a great mom joke, but I'm going to leave it there. Anyway, didn't hurt the sales of Grand Theft Auto at all. First numbers we have are out of the UK. This comes from MCV, where we have data that shows that for the 24-hour period under which it went on sale, it set the new record. A little bit higher percentage going to the 360. It looks like 55% went to the 360 versus 45% to the PS3. It's 335,000 on 360 and 266,000 on PS3.
And those numbers are huge for England. I mean, England is not a big country. There aren't that many people. That on 360 alone outsold Halo's one-day sales. Halo 3's. It's huge.
So here's the comparison that they drew, and this shows you how big it is. On the PS3, where it sold 266,000. I'm sorry. That was the Halo 3 number. How many did it sell? 350. The 274,000 units that were sold on PS3 eclipses the previous bestseller, which was Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, which sold 80.
Yeah.
80,000.
It's huge.
It's like 3 times.
Right? We haven't heard the numbers from the U.S. or the rest of Europe yet, but they're probably colossal.
It's going to be huge.
It's sold. I was talking to a friend of mine who runs a game EB in Chicago, where I'm from, and he said it's sold out at a store and at the Best Buy nearby. Like, I didn't think this would actually be sold out. Halo 3 wasn't sold out anywhere.
They'd shipped in enough.
There were a million, legendary editions as well.
And it's moving hardware. We don't know how much yet, but Sony issued a statement today. Sony and GameStop saying it's moving a lot of hardware, but not how much.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little skeptical. The analysts were saying ahead of time that it was going to move significantly more PS3s than 360s.
I still agree with that.
In Europe, it will, because there's a bundle.
Well, right.
There's a GTA 4 bundle in Europe. But here in America, we'll wait and see. But another thing you don't have a story is the 2K's CEO
Strauss Zelnick is vindicated.
He is vindicated. He says, "Hey EA, check this out. We're selling a lot of copies, and their stock price today went above, $2 above, I believe."
Well, is that surprising?
No. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion.
It's not so much vindicated. It's like see.
Yeah, but the idea is now EA was got to raise their offer if they're going to continue their offer.
Don't you think they will? I mean, if they really wanted them, why are they even wasting?
To get it before the game came out.
Yeah, it was like a timing thing. They waited too long to make that play. If they had made the play for 2K in November or December of last year, I think they would have easily pulled it off. But they waited too long.
Even now, I mean, even they'll want them for a million reasons. I mean, now there's so many copies out there that DLC will be huge. So
absolutely, there's no reason for EA not to just go ahead and. I mean, I'm not advocating it because I don't like what it does to the marketplace at all. But I'm surprised that they're still fiddle fucking around and not just bumping it up a couple bucks.
Fiddle fucking.
Yeah, fiddle fucking around.
Wow. More your mom jokes.
So right after it released, there were numerous reports around the message boards that Grand Theft Auto 4 was encountering all kinds of lockup problems, and there was the finger was pointed at 60 gigabyte PS3s. Evidently, though, it also had some problems on 360.
I had mine. A mission was loading, and it just kept loading, and my drive started to click.
360
and it stopped. Yeah, and it's turned off. Turn it back on.
Did it work after that?
Yeah.
I've played mine on a 60 gig PS3, no lockups. But when I started hearing these reports, I'm like, okay, the average game that sells 1 million copies or 100,000 copies, maybe 10 people are complaining about locking up. But this game is selling so many copies that there's going to be a lot more squeaky wheels.
I think it is a higher percentage, though.
I don't know.
I don't think it's. I mean,
I mean, there's a lot of hardware out there that is going to malfunction no matter what, and just so happens that you're playing GTA in it, everyone's playing GTA in it.
I'm sure it's also a very intensive game for both systems to handle, though, especially without a hard drive on 360.
I like Shane's theory, though, until we actually have numbers. Because,
it's just
what are you basing anything
like
on?
a message board, 20 people post, GTA's all broken. No.
Well, and of course, it's the ones who are having problems who are posting because everybody else is playing the damn game.
Well, so Sony had a response.
Sony did have a response. They gave a quote to Kotaku, which was that, yes, we are aware that the message boards and a few of the industry blogs are saying about the freezing issue with GTA 4 and a limited number of PS3s, although we've seen extremely low volume of contacts to our customer service department regarding such an issue. We want to ensure that every customer has a great experience on our console with Grand Theft Auto 4. All parties involved are working to isolate the problem for those few units and identify a solution, which does make it sound like there might be some grain of truth to there.
I don't think it's a bully situation, though. I don't think it's a recall.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's a patch, even. We'll see.
And it's the software, not the hardware. It seems like they need to take care of that, not Sony.
Yes, sir. All right, and as we do this live, Andrew has actually just found on the interwebs through GameSpot a post from the Take-Two sports site that suggests a 12-step remedy for getting Grand Theft Auto 4 to work on your PS3. If you are encountering trouble, it includes disabling online, disabling Rumble
deleting
support.
Deleting your game, right? Wasn't that it?
And deleting the install. So this goes to something that someone else suggested, which was that a number of the failures, like the big thing, was that you'd get to the end of the opening cutscene and then it would lock up. And what a lot of people suggested was on the PS3 was because if you got the install and the install had like a glitch during the installation process, that would be where it started to stream again, and it would reveal there's a problem in your data on the hard drive. So there you go, guys. Check that out. GameSpot has the link, and I guess Take-Two's support also does.
Not the game you want to lose your progress in when you're
no.
like 30 hours in. It's the kind of thing you will stop playing.
But once you have the installation and the installation is secure, then you should be in good shape, and it does definitely help the loading situation on PS3.
I'm just saying a huge sandbox game is the worst to have a problem like this.
It would suck. So moving on to other games, Activision's cash cow Guitar Hero. We got the first look at the DS song list, and at least Chris Pigna, who wrote the story for us, says that the track list sucks. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I completely disagree, but some of them are questionable.
It's got fucking Rick Springfield.
It has.
And it's like
that's a good thing.
12 or 15 songs, right?
Well, what we saw here. We got 15 revealed, and then there's 10 more after that. So it's 25-song pack on here. But I mean, come on, Spiderwebs by No Doubt. Spiderwebs for good song.
I think that's one of No Doubt's better. It's not a great guitar song,
but it's not exactly. It's like
no matter what's on those, though, someone on the internet is going to come in on our message boards, and if we talk shit on it, they're going to bitch about how it's such a wonderful addition. To
Are you going to diss Judas Priest again on this podcast?
I still diss him any day of the week, man.
I still don't really see the market for Guitar Hero DS, because if you're at home and you like Guitar Hero, you're going to play Guitar Hero, and if you're on the go, you're not going to play this in public.
Oh, dude, come on! You'd be awesome. You'd sitting on the 38, rocking your Guitar Hero. Yeah.
Nick, could you not see the promotional video where you play it on your
in your backyard with your sister?
Front lawn.
What else we got in here? We got "Are You Gonna Be My Girl" by Jet. We got "We're Not Gonna Take It" by Twisted Sister. Dude, you crank that shit up on the bus right there. Anyway, Jesse's Girl, Hit Me With Your Best Shot. Oh, and everybody's favorite, Maroon 5. That's probably why that alone is probably why he said it sucks.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right.
Aerosmith has also agreed, evidently, to an exclusive content deal.
I don't like this one bit.
Because you own Rock Band?
So N-Guy got this on his Newsweek's Level Up blog, that the deal behind the financing of the Guitar Hero Aerosmith includes monies for special application to make it exclusive.
Well, we predicted a while ago that Activision was actively courting exclusivity deals with bands. I don't like it. It's the more bands they sew up, that means the more music we don't get for Rock Band.
Are the Rock Band songs not exclusive? None of them?
Well, the rumor is that EA might start going after exclusivity for their bands as well now.
Well, that's the problem. It's the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
I mean,
it's just like the guitar compatibility thing. It's just bullshit that's bad for the fans.
Yeah, and then what if some third publisher decides to make another ripoff, and then even more people are fighting for the songs, and it's just gonna get messy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem, and that's what N-Guy really was talking about. Is it makes the whole thing start to get territorial. It's like everybody's gonna start walling off, and then all it does is screw you to not being able to get the good stuff.
It's gonna be like sports games in football. Where there's going to be one franchise that's got real music and the rest is all got fucking made for grocery store.
or real players at this point.
Right.
According to Gaming Nexus, Activision has withdrawn officially from E3. Maybe it's because they don't have the money to go after buying Aerosmith. I don't know.
That's weird, because this E3 is the one we're all looking forward to be a return to form, even though it's not completely taking over the LA Convention Center. At least it's back in part of the convention center. And Activision, one of the biggest 3 publishers in America, is not going to be there.
I know. So the statement says, after careful consideration for business reasons, Activision has decided not to participate in any official E3 activities. We wish the ESA the best of the luck with the show.
Are they not going to have like a big event like a day before?
I hope they
nearby?
do.
They will.
I mean,
They will, and two like weeks from now, we'll find out about how they're going to be in a hotel near the convention center.
It seems like a weird political thing or something like that.
Shavat of Crytek has been talking with PC Play, and again, he seems really stuck on this. He seems to really go back to that piracy issue a lot, which we've talked about before. In this interview, he says that he's talking about what's risky and not risky about going with PC exclusives. What's that do for you? He says, we're currently suffering from huge piracy that's encompassing Crysis. We seem to lead the charts in piracy by a large margin, a chart leading that is not desirable. He goes on to say that it's the core of the problem with PC gaming, to the degree that PC gamers pirate more than any other sort of gamer, and that it undermines the platform more than it does in console gaming. It's a big lesson for them, and that they won't have PC exclusives as they did with Crysis in the future.
Sean?
What am I supposed to say? It's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, he's mad. Like, when you do look in like the figures for monthly pirating and downloads,
is there any hope
people like to go to Crysis
for quelling piracy? You're like, no.
I don't know, but it's also a big problem with console games. It's bigger than you. I heard from many sources that before GTA 4 came out, a lot of people were like, "Hey, I see it all over."
How can you still call them friends?
Well, what's funny about
seriously, Nick,
when the 360 version got pirated, what's funny was the pirate groups were like, "Oh, you should buy this one." That was one of the things that came out of it. But I mean, PSP piracy is a huge problem.
Piracy sucks. Piracy is terrible for the industry. No one doubts that.
He's rightfully pissed. You spend so much money and time making this game, and then the bigger your budget, the more dangerous it is, and the more desperate you are to recover your costs. And they're just guaranteeing. I mean, it personally pisses me off as, a lover of PC.
Yeah.
To the extent that, true PC player, like I'm playing GTA and actually wishing I had the PC version, and it's like that. Just decreasing the likelihood of any of that, because all these fuckers are out there ripping stuff off. So fuck you guys.
And it really
it's not the sole problem of PC gaming, but it's a problem. And if you say otherwise, you're full of shit.
It also really undermines that argument that the whole reason people pirate games is so that they can try them out and see if they want to buy them.
They don't.
Because
no one does that.
Dude, that argument is so weak sauce. But still, Crysis has a demo. Go try the demo. See if you like it. See how it runs. And then if you like it, buy the damn game. And chances are, I guess, according to Shack News, who says they've seen it running, that you might get a chance to buy Duke Nukem or pirate it, I guess.
You had two options there. That Duke Nukem Forever would come out. I mean, that Duke Nukem would be coming to consoles as well as PC.
It is. It is coming to consoles. But but regardless of that, does anyone give a damn anymore about Duke? I used to think I would care.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this game to laugh
at it, right?
Laugh.
I'm
that trailer,
kind of legitimately looking forward to it.
Did you see that trailer they put out? A few months ago, it was unbelievably bad.
It didn't show that much to be unbelievably bad.
It showed aesthetics that wouldn't have appealed to me when I was 10.
The original trailer they showed, for Duke Nukem Forever, however many years ago. You know the one I'm talking about? It was just crazy shit going on before they wiped the slate clean. That trailer was seemed like so goofy fun that I'm still excited from that, even if it's totally not that. So I don't know.
My question is not just the aesthetic of it, but is there a place for the just insanely you remember that? What was that other game they did? Shadow Warrior. Was that the one
when you were Lo Wang?
Right, with the coolie hat. I mean, has society changed enough that now Duke Nukem is almost at that same point of just being outside the realm of being funny more? And you're just
I think 13-year-olds are actually savvier than they were 10 years ago, and they'll think Duke Nukem's retarded.
I kind of agree with you.
They have to reinvent it for to be what Duke Nukem was at the era.
But that trailer we saw did not. The humor at the end of that trailer
was still the same.
There was nothing in there that his joke was weak. And
they seemed to be impressed with what they saw. Right? I mean,
they were impressed. They were impressed. You are absolutely correct. They were definitely impressed with what they saw.
They're also they have some relationship with the company that's getting them the exclusive access again and again. Nothing bad, nothing improper. I don't want to say that at all, not even suggesting it, but I do think that probably there's a long-term friendship or something, because
I think
that site's been around for a long time.
Exactly. They've been in the community for a long time. They probably know George and Scott, and it's those guys are comfortable, so they get to check it out that way.
But the point I guess I am making, so I don't undercut everything I just hinted at, is just that yes, if you are friends with them and you're getting, or if you're the one getting the sole access on it, I don't know.
You're probably not going to piss on it.
Going to be pretty good. They're probably not going to be that shady. They're not going to be Shane's.
I think the deck is stacked against this game, and if it is a good game, it'll be an amazing triumph.
Really, and I think I agree with you, but not for the reason most people think anymore. I think that maybe there's a better chance of the engine and the game performance and mechanically working, and the whole Duke Nukem thing just totally missing now and being just, oh my God, what did people ever see in this? Something they saw a lot in was Portal. Everybody loved it as a small game, but Microsoft didn't love it enough to allow accommodation for it to wind up on Xbox Live Arcade. Talking to GameIndustry.biz, Doug Lombardi pointed out that said that this is something we'd love to do. Right now, it's something we'd really love to do. I'd love to sell Portal on Xbox Live, but the platform holders aren't doing that right now. There's a size limit and all kinds of other things.
Is it live or is it like live DLC or live arcade? That's a big difference.
That's exactly the big point that comes up in this story, is that they wanted to sell it as a standalone game on Live Arcade.
Why not?
Because it doesn't fit inside their stupid size requirements.
But I think it also just doesn't really fit, at least what they have going with Live Arcade now. It's not a game you want to hop into for like a minute at a time.
He's perched.
He's getting ready to do something. He's perched on his chair.
Do a backflip.
Like you're going to reenact the beginning from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
It reminds me of like Snoopy when Snoopy does like the vulture thing, sitting up on top of his doghouse. Like,
I think Microsoft must really love Doug Lombardi after this and the other thing he came out and said about Steam.
Well, yes, that would be. Hold on, I have to dig through to that one. I have that in here because that was freaking hilarious. He basically outed them on GameIndustry.biz that Microsoft rejected advances from Valve to basically build Steam.
Like before Valve made Steam, they took the idea to Microsoft, like, hey, we have this idea for distribution. And Microsoft's like, not interested.
He says, we went around to Yahoo. Yahoo could have built it too. How weird would that be? Jerry would have had something else to try and sell to Microsoft.
And wait, dude, this is news to me. So
isn't that crazy?
Legitimately reaction. This is fucking batshit insane. And Microsoft says we're gonna make this games for Windows Live, man.
The joke on a message board I read. The joke I read on a message board was Microsoft was like, well, how much are you gonna charge for this? And Valve's like, we thought it should be free. Microsoft's like, no thanks.
Well, so this is great because it shows you. It kind of illustrates how funny it is that when you think that like Microsoft's thinking into the future. They said we went around to everybody. Well, so he says, we went around to Yahoo and Microsoft and anybody who seemed like likely candidates to build something like Steam. We basically had our feature list that we wanted. We wanted auto-updating. We wanted better anti-piracy, better anti-cheat, and selling games over the wire was something we came up with later. We went around to everybody and we asked, hey, are you guys doing anything like this? And everybody was like, that's a million miles in the future. We can't help you.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it's good to see them succeed now for their...
Absolutely. Microsoft, maybe you can go back with hat in hand and rekindle that and fix Games for Windows Live or whatever the hell it is.
But just, it's at some point Microsoft has got to, I'm not sure, corporate philosophy or whatever, but just rethink the strategy about like the limitations they're putting on downloads, about charging, expecting to charge people for Games for Windows Live accounts, and I mean all just this little stuff that gamers rightfully get pissed off about. I mean,
it's weird because, digital distribution, even on consoles, is obviously the inevitable future at some point, even if it's not the immediate future.
All of them have it now.
Some point in time.
But it seems like, Portal's more along the lines of something like Shivering Isles, where it's like a more standalone game than like Live Arcade specifically.
I disagree. I think the amount of press that Portal specifically got, not Orange Box, but just Portal, everyone's talking about Portal. Portal should be on Xbox Live Arcade.
It's just weird that they can't but that's weird that they can't find a place for it somewhere.
Well, and how ideal would Portal be for getting on arcade, where you could then start selling DLC of new levels, and I mean, it's like, here's this thing to play with, because that's part of the fun of it, is a toy to play with that somebody could just sit there and crank levels out for, and I'd go get them.
Yeah.
Anyway, because you're going to have to wait a while to get a sequel, we found out that you won't see a new Portal at retail this Christmas because of that, referring to the need to be equally revolutionary with a sequel as they were with the first one. So they're feeling the pressure of wanting to make sure that a sequel comes out and it's as strong as
What about the
rumor? That and they're still working on Left 4 Dead.
What about the rumors of Portal for WiiWare? I heard that rumor.
Really?
I heard it.
That's an interesting rumor.
I heard it.
I don't know.
You're offended, Nick?
It looks horrible.
I bet it looks better than N+.
I bet not.
Oh, dear.
But I was going to say, Team Fortress 2 should absolutely be downloadable by itself as well on Live, just like Shadowrun should have been. That's how you get a lot of people for an online game playing online.
So you know what it really points to? It's that Microsoft, if they want to keep Live Arcade the way it is with its limits and the sort of games it has, they need to have a separate entity that allows you to buy that sort of game.
Just like you could buy movies.
Like the Xbox originals.
Right, Xbox, exactly. Just like Xbox originals.
360 originals.
Which is exactly like the stupid Tomb Raider game hasn't ever shown up on there because they screwed up the whole distribution.
It's not?
It never showed up on there, did it?
No.
I never saw any press releases. I think that whole thing fell apart.
It went to retail.
It went to retail.
Yeah.
It went to retail, but it never showed up. You remember that? They were like, oh, we're going to sell it by episodic content pieces over Xbox Live. Really? Because Xbox Live doesn't let you do that. They just need to get their heads out of their asses on that one and come up with some sort of other storefront to sell that stuff. Pretty simple stuff. And who knows how to look compared to the new Prince of Persia game. Shane, are you into Prince of Persia? I'm kind of into Prince of Persia. I wasn't sure my response to the cell-shaded look.
I like the graphics.
I thought it looked so good.
I like the graphics. I
incredible.
think the character design looks really good, actually. I like the character.
This
a
is
bit anime.
Little anime.
The eyes.
A little bit.
This is the Assassin's Creed team, is that right?
I'm not sure.
It's
I don't
the
have the details.
original. It's the original Sands of Time team.
Yeah, so it is.
Yeah, I mean,
that's really
read
promising. I mean, that's some stuff they really have down, especially that was increased in Assassins was like just the basic feeling of movement and fluidity, and that just looks incredible. Like it looks like that really kind of realistic stylized thing, even though it is cell shaded.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait for more and more games to just embrace that, and like especially now that the look is so clearly. They're able to take it, to the next level, to use a sad cliche because nothing else came to my mind, and just like have these like animated graphic novel things. It looks better when I saw the screens and I know how it's going to animate. It looks better than most like animation coming out of like not like a big motion picture type thing, but like daily the kind of stuff's on like Cartoon Network and stuff. It definitely is already at the point where it's rivaling that.
I just hope that they don't co-develop it to like really fit with the movie. I don't want it to be a movie game. I hope it's its own thing.
Oh, definitely not. So we picked up this story via Eurogamer. It's from a French publication called Joypad. They had several number of screens. In addition, they had some first information from the development team, including that combat is also getting an overhaul. It's going to be less like God of War and more like Soul Calibur.
Wow.
So that sounds to me like a heavier emphasis on technical fighting.
Well, in all the screenshots, it seemed to be one-on-one fighting almost.
I don't really care about the combat at all in that series.
It's more about the exploration.
Yeah, and the puzzle solving and all that. Yeah.
Well, they
get it
still
right,
plan
though,
to have that parts in there.
If it's Ninja Gaiden quality combat, I'm guessing that's probably a closer thing.
But I don't want it to focus on the combat at all. I still want it to be like 20% combat, not Ninja Gaiden.
So you guys make fun of me for being on Facebook.
We'll make sure they make it to your special.
Damn well, bet.
We'll be right there for you, buddy. We got your back. You guys make fun of me oftentimes for being on Facebook, but so is Hideki Kamiya of Platinum Games, who through a blog post sort of apologized to the folks who are not included on the Wii version of Okami in the credits.
Which was everyone. Who made the game.
Yeah. So. It's really strange. I mean, have you checked this out?
Yeah, did you see what he was specifically pissed about, though? Was not so much like their names, but the entire
the omoi, the spirit and the sense of accomplishment that was a part of the credits.
Which is a good point, right? What do you guys?
We back to that RPG you're playing that you're talking about in the first segment?
Maybe. No, but I think it's really lame that Capcom left out the original credits from Clover Studios, and the rumor was maybe because the bad break between Clover and Capcom.
It was an uncomfortable break.
But still, you put the names of the people who made the fucking game in the game.
Oh, no, I agree.
I don't know what happened with that port. Between that and the IGN watermark on the box art, someone done fucked up at Capcom.
Wait, that watermark's on the box art?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, when I handed it to you the other day, that's what I was showing you.
I thought you were pointing out the sticker on there. There was a sticker with the 1-up EGM score.
With my score, yeah.
Someone done fucked up on that game.
Did you have your quote in it, too?
No, just in quotes. But that sticker.
So you don't get a full money hat out of that. You get like a money visor,
right? That sticker is on the outside plastic, but then you tear it off and actually printed on the art is the play review. And I do not want something printed on the art, especially with a game like Okami. That's even more upsetting than the watermark. I'm surprised people weren't.
Because you were planning on framing that package, putting it on the wall. Right?
Although allegedly, Res HD also omitted the credits.
Really?
The original credits. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see with the amount of work that goes into the game, and then hopefully the potential for the Wii version to get them some of the credit that they felt like they missed out the first time around. It's a total slight.
The whole marketing was like the greatest game you never played by people we're not going to talk about.
Right, it's a total slight. Hopefully hopefully it was an innocent mistake or a stupid screw up by some one person.
What are they going to do? I mean,
I don't know. If nothing else, how about issue just a press release and say we'd like to thank the team for their hard work to get the game done.
That's good.
Sign of the changing times. It was interesting to see some of the credits appear in the intro of GTA 4.
And I thought it was cool
I'm not sure if that was a first. It was handled well, but just the fact that it was there. How often, even if it's not the first, how many games have you played where you see names of anyone affiliated with the project other than like the main producer before you finish the game?
Less than a handful.
Yeah. That was really cool. I thought that was really cool. I like that part. And then wrapping it up, a couple of Nintendo stories. First being that Miyamoto has scored top on the Time list of the 100 most influential people of the year.
Well, mind you, above K-pop sensation Rain at number 2 and Stephen Colbert at number 3.
Hey, the popular voice voted for these people, so I mean that's the populace has spoken. The pros, as if creating Mario, Donkey Kong, and The Legend of Zelda weren't enough, the father of modern video gaming is still designing franchises for Nintendo and its best-selling Wii console. His latest, Super Mario Galaxy, redefines video game physics once again with its springy reimagining of that old chestnut, Gravity. Wow, that's some Time magazine crap, isn't it? That old chestnut. The cons are, can he reverse gravity for all those obese video game playing kids out there? Miyamoto himself has said that the purpose of Wii Fit game with its balance board and full body focus isn't to make you fit, but aware of your body, aware enough to go outside before atherosclerosis sets in.
I want him to make a new game.
I curse him for the fucking YouTube videos of people filming themselves playing. Not playing in scare quotes Wii Fit. Have you seen any of them yet?
Oh, dear God, no.
Just like morbidly obese people that are like running, just have the camera going and just panting.
Shouldn't we be happy that they're on the balance board running?
I am, but why are they putting that video up? Why? I don't have to watch it. No one's making me.
Play Boom
Besides yourself.
Play Boom Blocks if you want to work out.
Or go to one of 10 participating Westin hotels where you get to play special Wii games as part. Like, this is really funny.
That's a pretty cool thing, right there.
It's cool, but it's cool. But the way they're doing it is really funny in a kind of ironic way because it's part of their Westin workout fitness centers at certain Westin hotels.
So is it in the gym, not in the room?
No, it's in your room, but you get to play special editions of the games where you'll be able to play. Well, you'll be able to get both your body and brain moving.
You run down the Westin stairs as they simulate like a fucking fire alarm. Like they added new shit.
It'll have Wii Sports with tennis, golf, baseball, bowling, and boxing. Big Brain Academy, Wii Degree, and Wii Play, and others, all played with natural, intuitive motions of the Wii
I say
remote.
amen. How many times have you gone to a hotel and there's like a fucking N64 controller that plays like Atari games somehow?
That's every hotel, dude. So this is a big step forward.
Like, dude, if I went there with my girlfriend, I'd be like, hey, whatever, at some point in your stay, like, let's try this out. That sounds fun. If they don't charge you like some ridiculous price as soon as you turn it on.
Sean, I saw a commercial last week for Sandals All-Inclusive Family Resort in the Bahamas, which has a Sega Genesis play park.
Yeah, dude.
It's like Sega Genesis play
but
park.
You get to play it with a Nintendo 64 controller. Yeah. That's the hot shit right there.
That's completely
confusing. This stuff's analog now. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, come on. Does anybody really think that when it comes down to the end of the night that, like, traveling salesman dude is going to, like, bust out the money for Wii Play instead of the porno?
Vacations, when dad is running away with his kid, skipping out on child support and taking the kid, and he needs to keep the kid entertained when he goes down to the tavern downstairs.
Yep,
that shit's gonna come in handy.
I just love it that like now a video game machine has become part of a like chain's workout program. Here's this national hotel chain. We're going to make this workout program. We're using the Wii, of course. Everybody's.
You've never heard someone in the corporate position blow smoke up your ass before.
Oh, it's just funny as shit that they're using. Of
course, it's going to be for that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying this is a funny application of that. That's the news. That's the whole show, folks. We've reached the end. You know where to catch us. That's boards.oneup.com for Andrew, Shane, Sean, Nick. Hope you had a good time.
I did.
This is Garnet. We'll catch you next week. Until then, we are Ghost.